Hello everyone, it's Rivka Malka and I'm so happy to be back here together with you. It is Elul and Baruch Hashem, I have a story for you. This story was told by my dear friend Janet Esses. And thank you Hashem for this story because when I heard it, it did something to me and I'm so excited to share it with you. So it's the story of a king. And this king was going to be coronated. Not just any coronation, but the most glamorous, most incredible coronation that a king could have. There would be music, there would be instruments, there would be costumes and glamour. It would just be unforgettable. And in order to go to this coronation, you couldn't just show up. You had to buy a ticket. Tickets are expensive. You know how it goes at these big events, the gala events. You've got to buy tickets and only the elite VIP celebrities get to actually attend. Everyone else just gets to hear about it. Well, that's what it was like for this king's coronation. And you know, there was a man, and he was a very poor and simple man, and he lived in a small town, and he thought to himself, there is no way that I'm going to be able to get to the coronation. How am I going to even travel there, let alone buying a ticket? That is just out of the question. Tickets are so expensive. This is not something that I can do, but I yearn to go. Oh my goodness, I love our king so much. And he does so much for us, and he takes such good care of the palace, and I want to be there for his big day, but I can't go. And he was thinking to himself, what can I do, you know, here from my little town? And he's thinking, and then he has an idea, you know, I heard that the king passes through our town on the street on the way to the coronation. Maybe if I can catch a glimpse of him, I'll like intersect with him at the exact right moment. I'll catch a glimpse of him. It'll just be so amazing and so sweet. And he got to work. He's like, okay, where will the king be? When will this happen? As far as I know, it's going to be right here, right on this road. And he went to his house and he got out a little piece of cardboard and he wrote on it, I love the king. And then he went to that street and he waited. Maybe, just maybe, the king would pass by. And he held up his little sign. And what do you know? The king passed him by. And when the king saw this, he said, wait, he said to his driver, and he looked over and he saw the man holding the little cardboard sign that said, I love the king. And he said to him, hello, like, what are you? And he's like, I am your servant. I am just standing here so I could see the king on the way to his coronation. I just want to be with the king. And the king is looking at him a little confused. He's never seen anything like this. And he says, you mean you're standing here because you just want to see me while I'm out on the road? Yes, that's right. That's right. And now I get to see you. And I'm so happy to see you because I just want to tell you, King, thank you. I love the king so much. Thank you for taking care of us. Thank you for all that you do. I hope everything goes so well with your coronation. I'm really thinking of you. And even though I can't go, I'm just here, but I've got my sign and I know it's small, but I just want to tell you, King, I love you. And the king was just overwhelmed. He's like, my gosh, like, you're so precious. Who even are you? I don't care who you are. You're coming with me. Get in the wagon. And he took that man and he put him in the wagon and he said, you know what? You're going to the coronation. And guess who you're going with? You're going with me. You don't need any expensive ticket. Sit down. Let's talk. And the king and the simple man got to talking, and they spoke about what it was like to be coronated the king and what it was like to be a simple man. And they made it all the way to the big city. And when they got there, the guards opened up the wagon and they said, oh, king, who is here with you? Please, let's get rid of him. And the king said, no, he's my friend. And then all the preparations began for the coronation, and the simple man was there. And when the king went on the balcony on the great day of his coronation, when he looked out at the masses of all the people who had paid all the money to come there, who do you think he was looking for? His friend. He's looking for his friend, because with his friend, he felt seen. With his friend, he felt loved, and he wanted his friend to enjoy the coronation as well. Dear friend, could you see what's happening over here in this coronation? Could you see? And could you see me, the king? And their eyes met, the simple man and the king. And this is the story of the month of Elul. Oh my goodness, such an amazing story. You see, so many people are going to go to the king's coronation. Oh yes, they will arrive on Rosh Hashanah. We're here. Or we paid a lot of money to come to the fancy show. We're here. It's Rosh Hashanah. Everybody wants to be there on Rosh Hashanah. But now the king is in the field. He's right here. He's passing by our house. And so it really makes a difference. Which one of us is going to come out with our little cardboard sign and say, I know it's Elul. I know you're here and I want to be with you. I want to help you get ready for the coronation. I want to be your friend. I want to get ready for the coronation. I want to be your friend. Who amongst us is going to do that? Well, if you're lucky like I was and you have a friend named Janet who tells you this story, then it sure does wake you up for Elul. Because that's where we are right now, this amazing opportunity to befriend the king, not just to show up for the coronation, but to say, King, I love you. And you could just imagine, like, what might they have spoken about in the wagon, right? Maybe the king told some of his concerns to the simple man. And maybe the simple man was thinking to himself, I wonder how I can help. Or maybe the king shared some of his dreams for the kingdom. And the simple man is thinking, I wonder how I could be better to fulfill the dreams of the king. When you're close to the king, it's so easy to hear what to do and how to improve and how to change because you want to, because the king's will is your will and your will is the king's will. And this is our opportunity now, in Elul. We have such a beautiful opportunity. So let's talk about that. But first, let's wrap up our story with this incredible awareness that when we wake up to Elul, towards the beginning of Elul, or even in the middle, or any time before the coronation, we are transmitting a message that the king matters to us, that we're not just going to show up at the end, that we're aware that he's passing through and we don't want to miss it. And then when we activate Elul, what we end up doing is we end up taking time. Sometimes people will take an hour and they'll do a whole cheshbon hanefesh. That means an accounting of the soul. How was my year? What do I need to improve? Or maybe they'll take a shorter time, or maybe they'll take a little bit of time every day, whatever it is, to dip into that conversation with the king to find out, hey, king. Don't say, hey, king. King, your highness, your majesty, dear God, what do you want? What do you want from me? Where do I need to improve so I can improve your kingdom? Come, I want to be your friend. I want you to be happy. This matters to you. You know, when there's a coronation and you're just one of the masses, all you see is the glory and the costumes and the crown. But if you're the king's friend, then you're attuned to the king's experience. What is this like to you, Hashem, for you, Hashem, to be crowned as king? Who amongst us wants to crown you as king? How does that matter to you? How does that matter to your universe? We all had a big year. We had a big year, and Hashem had a big year. For real. We're so close to Geula. So many things are happening. So many heartaches, so many heartbreaks, and so much greatness has been woken up in our people. We are in this transitional, electric, like heartbreaking, joyous, united, hardworking end stage of this chapter in our universe. And it was a big year for Hashem and a big year for us. So we get to slow down and we get to say, okay, let's have a chat, dear King. What is on your mind? What do I need to improve? How can I rise to my greatness? And this story is the beginning of our talk of becoming a friend to Hashem. And I hope that you can take this story with you throughout Elul, remembering that every time that you do work in Elul, you are proclaiming to Hashem, Hashem, I love the king. I'm coming out to greet you. I'm not just waiting for your coronation. I want to be your friend. What matters to you matters to me. Do you know what matters to Hashem? You matter to Hashem. That's right. You matter to Hashem. Sometimes we think, oh, I have to make Hashem's will my will, and that's so hard because Hashem is God, and He's taking care of the whole universe, and He's going to want me to do such hard things. But in fact, what did God choose to do with this universe? He chose to create it for us. So doing Hashem's will means doing what is good for us. So anything that we seek to improve is good for Hashem, and is also good for us. Okay. Have that in mind this whole Elul. Every time you do something, you're amazing. You're the simple man. You're the gorgeous woman or man doing your incredible work. And now I want to move over just a little bit as we start to wind down our talk to just look at one more thing. And this has to do with human nature. You see, we like to be friends with people who like us. Actually, there's a saying that goes, people love people who make them fall in love with themselves. And you should take that with you. If you have any social anxiety or social questions, how should you navigate in the world? Just remember, people love people who make them fall in love with themselves. And how do we make someone fall in love with themselves? By noticing their good qualities, by appreciating their life story, by appreciating what they do for us. When we see another person's greatness, they fall in love with themselves, and that helps them to fall in love with us. It makes a cycle of giving and appreciating, giving and appreciating. Well, the same is with Hashem. If we know that Hashem is crazy about us, that makes us fall in love with Him. We have this cycle. However, we have an interesting default button in our human psyche that doesn't always allow us to know just how much Hashem loves us and likes us. My mother used to say, I don't only love you, I like you. And that was a really important line for her because it's different. It means I don't just love you because I'm your mother. I notice your qualities. I like your personality. I like the stuff you're made of. So Hashem, He doesn't just love us, He likes us. And when we know that, it makes it much easier to do our Elul work because then we're sitting in a space of love and then we're able to take an honest look. Love has room for mistakes and repair all the time, infinite times, mistakes and repair. It's going to happen 100% of the time, okay? So when you do your work, sit in a space of love, which translated means take a moment to breathe, and you can say out loud, I'm noticing that Hashem loves me. Or you can just think it to yourself, or you can sing a song. And for those of you who don't like to get into a meditative state, don't worry. This could be 30 seconds. Just activate that knowing, okay? And then once you have activated your knowing, from there, in that space, have a beautiful time with your friend. A cheshbon hanefesh, in the old way that we used to do it, was very, very harsh. It was scanning all parts of our character, all parts of our life, making a big red mark wherever things are going wrong. Well, guess what? That does not work anymore because it doesn't, I mean, some people think it's because we can't handle it. I think it's because we're deeper now. And the depth that Hashem has allowed us to see is that we are not the sum total of our mistakes or errors. We are the sum total of all of it. He introduced us to psychology and to healing. So we have this awareness that we have many different parts to us. We're not going to function 100% in 100% of the places all the time. It doesn't work like that. We're not made of that. We weren't trained as, robots or animals. We are complex. So when we sit in a space of love and we do our cheshbon hanefesh, we're not going to just say, okay, I'm horrible in all of these areas. No. We're going to start with, where did I grow this year? And write down a few places that you actually grew. Cheshbon means in accounting, like an inventory. Make your gains part of your inventory. And if it's hard for you to see where you grew, think of a particular relationship. That oftentimes helps. You're able to see where you grew in that relationship. Okay, then you in that space of love, you can go into, where do I know that I want to improve? You see, we have something called the Nekudas Habachira, and that means this space where we actually have free choice. Some things we don't have choice about. We're just going to do them. We're just not up to it. That's it. It's not in our realm of free choice. It's just how we function. The end. Some things are not in our realm of free choice because we're very good at them. Maybe, keeping Shabbos is not in the realm of my free choice. I'm going to keep Shabbos. I grew up like that. That's what I'm doing. It's not part of my choices. But there is one spot. This spot is called the Nekudas HaBechira. And in that spot, I do have a free choice. It means that I have been, if I'm honest with myself, I know I could do better. Right? And that's where we're going to work. I remember once learning with a girl, a young woman actually, and she was on her way to becoming more religious, and it was very, very hard for her. And so we were talking about all kinds of things, Shabbos and mitzvos and this and that, and I explained to her about the Nekudas HaBechira, and I said, okay, so right here in the middle of the table, we were sitting at a restaurant, what is your Nekudas HaBechira? She said, a cheeseburger. And when she said it, I saw it as if it was real. Here she is learning about kosher, but man, a cheeseburger tastes so good, and social eating is the best. So getting rid of that cheeseburger was really hard, but a part of her knew it's time. So when we do our Cheshbon HaNefesh, we're just going to look at those places that we know it's time. Then, third and final part, you take the thing you need to work on. For example, let's say I want to work on making Shabbos earlier, right? Take that. And this is how I teach it in coaching school when we have to do accountability at the end of a coaching session. This is what you do. Accountability means you're making a commitment to doing something and you want to be accountable to it. Well, in order to be accountable, you've got to take on something that makes sense. Otherwise, you'll fail. And if you fail twice. Failed once on the thing that you said you'd be accountable for, and failed twice on a second time on disappointing yourself and not following through with your own word. So it's really important that you commit to things that you can actually do. And here's how that goes. You write down the thing that you want to work on, let's say making Shabbos earlier. Then from that circle, make 5 spokes, 5 ideas that would help you make Shabbos earlier. It would be shop on Thursday, clean on Wednesday, get the children involved, stay up all night, get up early. I just made those up, right? So those are your options. And from those options, you can't do all of them, but you could do one of them. And you're just going to pick one. So let's say you pick, I'm going to shop on Thursday, right? Great. We're so proud of you. Now, another 5 spokes come out of that circle. Shop on Thursday. What 5 things need to happen in order for you to shop on Thursday? Oh, well, maybe I have to write down my menu. Maybe I have to make sure I have gas in the car. I don't know. Maybe I have to switch my carpools. No one can ever switch their carpools, by the way. No one wants to switch. But, you could put that in as a possibility. Maybe I have to shop online at a certain time if that's where I shop for some of my groceries. Okay, you're going to get 5 things that will help you to accomplish your goal of shopping on Thursday. Then of those 5 things, you're going to commit to one. Okay, I know that sounds wild. Here you have, I want to make Shabbos earlier. And here, all you're doing is you're making a menu on Thursday. Commit like a beast. Commit like a beast. Just get that commitment in and don't waver from it. And what happens when you do that and you keep your paper? And what happens when you do that is that you will find that you can naturally do some of the other things that are also attached to that wheel, and that you will most likely shop on Thursday. Now, your goal is to shop on Thursday, but not right away. Right away, your goal is to keep your commitment to make Shabbos a priority and write that menu on Thursday. Okay, maybe it's Thursday morning menu, whatever. Write it. That activates the brain that says, I can do this. And from there, you'll be able to get closer and closer to your goal of shopping on Thursday. Later on, eventually, you'll do this again and again until you're able to actually make Shabbos earlier. But if you do it this way, you build inside of yourself this conviction and commitment. And all the time you're keeping in mind your actual goal, which is make Shabbos earlier. Now, this is one way of doing it. Maybe for you, making Shabbos earlier is just about the Friday. Maybe it's just about finishing at a certain time, or stopping to take phone calls at a certain time, or the best trick in the book, putting your phone away for 2 hours on a Friday. Wow, you'll be amazed at how many things you get done. It's like a game changer. You just do that. But, right, what will help me to get done earlier on Friday? Making an hour before deadline. I will tell you an amazing, amazing story. My father, my dear father, he should be blessed. He gets leg cramps on Friday night. Now, this is very strange because he does not get leg cramps on other nights. And these leg cramps are not simple. They keep him up in the middle of the night and they hurt. And my mother gets up and it's so painful, and it's been going on for years. And he's been trying to figure out what's wrong. Now, the thing is that my father is a doctor. He was in the ER for years, and he knows how the body works, and he knows what the possibilities are. So he has tried everything, and nothing has helped. And so he started thinking, it must be something about Shabbos, because it only happens on Shabbos. And I believe it happens on Yantif also. And some people say, oh, it's because you're sitting so much then, or you're standing so much then, you're eating different foods. Then he tried it all, right? Why is he only getting leg cramps on Friday night? He couldn't figure it out. But he decided, okay, if it has something to do with Shabbos, he has to take care of Shabbos. And so he and my mother let our family know that it would be wonderful if we could take on, or perhaps it was my sister who thought of this, take on welcoming Shabbos in 10 minutes early. Now, 10 minutes sounds like a little, but on Erev Shabbos, it's a lot. Guess what happened? I'm not joking. This is 100% serious. After years of him getting leg cramps, years, they stopped. On the very first week that we did our 10 minutes before candlelighting thing. Could you imagine? Stopped. And he just is asking us, please continue to light early. Please, please, please continue. This is so important, and it's helping him. Okay? So this specific example of getting to Shabbos candles early is very, very dear to me. Okay. We are wrapping up now. So yeah, let me just wrap up my thought. So that is a way of doing a cheshbon hanefesh. Find your strengths, find your nekudas habachira, and then find your commitment and accountability. When you do this, you're going to feel so amazing because you're going to actually see change in your life. You're literally telling the king, look what I'm doing. I'm trying. And yeah, you don't have to have the most expensive ticket for the coronation. You don't have to earn it in the most expensive way. It's okay to be a simple man. Just get in there and do your best. And what you can do is, if you follow this exact method, which I personally love, then you can actually do this in 3 to 5 different areas of your life so that you are changing your life incrementally. Okay, is it such a big change? Making a menu on Thursday. It's not the biggest change. Shopping on Thursday, a little bit more orchestrating, right? These changes are small but incremental. And I will tell you one more thing that it took me years to appreciate. My dear mother, she should be blessed. When I was a young girl, she showed me a very special paper. And I didn't understand why this paper was so precious. On this paper was written her hachlatas. That means her spiritual decisions. These decisions that we're making, just like the ones that I'm telling you about now, right? She wrote them down and she kept them to the best of her ability, 100%. And they lasted her for years and years and years. And she actually took this little paper out and it was like wrinkled because she didn't just make a decision for 1 year. For her, the way that she works is that this was going to be a real commitment. And that means it was year after year after year. And she would just build on one thing a year. And maybe in the middle of the year, she took on other things. I don't know, but one thing a year. Could you imagine being able to show Hashem, look at my paper. Look at my paper of decisions that I have made in order to make you happy, in order to be a better person. I have it down on paper. How awesome would it be if you and I could go into this Rosh Hashanah with our own little paper. Here's the things that I worked on in Elul, because these are the changes that I want to make. I think that would be an awesome way to walk into Elul. Okay. Oh, to walk into Rosh Hashanah. Let's call it to walk through Elul and to walk into Rosh Hashanah. All right. Winding down over here, we're just reminiscing and remembering about the sweetness of the little man who befriended the king, and the king was just crazy about him just because he wanted him, and how being in Elul is our opportunity to befriend Hashem, and how we must remember that Hashem is our friend. He's crazy about us. He doesn't just love us, he likes us. And in that space, we can do our cheshbon hanefesh, taking an accounting and an inventory of where we've grown and where we know we need to grow next, and then making those commitments, and maybe even bringing a little special paper with you to wave to the king during the coronation. How much comfort would that give the king? Look, the changes are already happening. Okay, everyone, wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day or night wherever you are, and a kasiva v'chasima tova. Bye.